Hello, is that Jeff?
Good morning, Russell. Good
How you-
afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to your viewers. Whatever time it is then.
how are you? 2 seconds, let me get my picture up. Hang on. 2 seconds. There we go. You all right then?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Are you hearing me okay? I don't want to sound like Scooby-Doo.
No, you're all right. You sound okay.
Sure. Russell, just before we start, right?
Yeah.
Just before we start, I want to show you one thing. It won't take you 10 seconds, right? It won't
Okay.
take you 10 seconds. Watch this.
Okay.
How was that? Marks out of 10, please. Oh, you got it,
I'll give you an 8, Jeff. I'll give you an 8.
got 10. You got 10.
Right. You're
I
looking
couldn't
very
wait to do that. I just couldn't wait to do that.
Yeah. Are you looking very smart, Jeff, with your tie on? You need to wear a tie. The first person on here with a tie. I'm touched.
I like to be a first.
Right. So your name's Jeff. Where are you from originally, Jeff?
I'm actually born here in Reading. My parents came here from Barbados in the mid-50s. And I was bred and born in Reading. I've been in Reading all my life, and I love it down there.
Right. So you'll be a big cricket fan then, obviously.
That's the truth. That is absolutely
Because you're from Barbados, you'll obviously be a big Viv Richards fan, won't you?
No, not necessarily.
No.
Viv Richards hit the scene in the mid-70s, and he's not from Barbados.
He's from the Windward Islands, isn't he?
Well, Barbados itself is I suppose it's not considered to be the Windward Island.
Yeah.
Barbados stands alone by itself. Barbados is the most easterly island in the Caribbean. It sort of sticks out. It's closer to Britain or whatever than the other one. It sort of sticks out in the ocean.
Yeah.
In fact, Barbados was the sort of headquarters, was used as the headquarters for slavery. So Barbados is a very important part of the Caribbean. It was the first place where the ships landed.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, this channel, what we've got here, it's called Porky's International. Obviously, this is Porky's Corner, but that's for boxing. Porky's International is for other sport. And obviously, you're a famous referee, aren't you, at the moment, a boxing referee? Obviously, we can't talk about your issues with board because that's got legal issues, but we will one day on that. But we're going to talk about cricket today. And did you play cricket as a kid, Jeff?
Yes, cricket was a big part
Is
of
it big in Barbados then?
But Barbados actually, on average, has created or produced the most world-class, high-class cricketers on average in any country in the whole wide world. And you would have heard of Sir Garfield Sobers.
Gary Sobers, yeah.
Yeah, who came from Barbados, and he's arguably the greatest person to ever explore the art of cricket.
Bowler, batsman, he hit them 6 sixes, didn't he, out at ground? Do you remember?
Oh, yes, of 1968, yes, off Charlie Nash was the bowler. Yeah, it was something.
Remember that?
And she's got to pick that was the right distance. He's hit that out of the ground. That's another one. Goodness gracious me, that peppered the top. You see the chap climbing up there to have a look over the wall. 52 in 29 minutes. That's another one up in the enclosure. 3 balls, 3 sixes, 58. What an incredible bit of hitting. Ooh, he's got that shorter one. It's up again. There it is, bouncing on the concrete. 4 sixes in 4 balls. This makes him 64. 4 sixes. Wonder where Nash is going to bowl this one. And that will just carry. No, he's going to be out. Caught out. Oh, he's dropped it. He's over the boundary. 6 it is. 5 on the trot. Oh, this is incredible. Now, this is 6 on the trot's a world record. Been done before, but 70 on the board. And he's done it! He's done it! And my goodness, it's gone way down to Swansea. 6 on the trot. 36 in 1 over. My goodness gracious, what an over.
I was very young at the time, but I do remember it because it made a lot of headlines, and you've seen the replay of you've seen the black and white film of it many times.
The ball went down the street out the ground, didn't it?
That's what the 6 went miles. The commentator said it was off on the way down to some place. He said famously,
Somerset.
yeah.
But I've never seen sixers hit like that since I've seen Kevin Peterson out ground and the big guy Chris Gale. Is it Chris Gale?
Yeah, Chris Gale. Yeah,
left-hander, the opening back for West Indies, wasn't he? He's
Yeah.
a massive hitter. Him and Peterson, the biggest six hitters I've ever seen.
Goes again, this time a solid blow down the ground. Classic Chris Gale, 4, then 6.
Chris Gale will send positive message to the dressing room. His shot really, Chris Gale written all over it.
Oh, look at that. It's towering. The biggest we've seen. It's gone up into the top tier. And that is Chris Gale at his best.
He hasn't had much of the strike, but when he's had, he has dispatched it. That had height, it had distance, it had timing, it had power. It had 6 written all over it. Just the 98 metres.
There's been a tad more patience. And there he goes again. This is almost further. He is lethal when he's in this sort of form.
Well, the previous one was 98 metres. That would have been close as well. 86 metres. Come on, Chris, you can go further. He's just plinked that one. Look at it travel.
And look at that. Wow! Another huge one. Out of the blue. Smacks it out of the park.
And he knew what was coming. The best players premeditate. He knew what was coming. He knew Stokes had bowled in one short ball. And he's absolutely nailed it. That's a big, heavy bat. Slightly slower ball. Smash.
Oh, there's another one. And with that, he goes in front of McCullum as the most sixes in T20 internationals with 92. He's not done yet, 103 for 2. When he travels the world playing in T20 tournaments, doing things like that, that's why they love him. It is spectacular to watch. 113 for 3.
He's such a clean striker of the ball. Anyone watching, just watch his head position. Just so still through the timing of impact.
Oh, he hasn't got it, has he? Yes, he has. So powerful. I didn't think he'd got enough on. The man at long on was coming around quickly. Willie it was. I thought he was going to have a catching opportunity. But how silly of me to think that Gale hasn't got enough on it. I don't think you should stop. I don't think you should stop. Why would you stop?
You know generally as a bowling unit that's where he's going to score the majority of his runs. You try to set your field accordingly. But his power is as such that he just needs to hit it anywhere near.
And he goes again. 3 in a row. 22 in the over. It's getting easier for the West Indies. A good run chase so far. 146 for 4. Oh, that is a gift. You don't bowl there. He just got enough on it, but you don't bowl a low full toss on leg stump. Extraordinary stuff. Goes again. It's going to bring rain. He's 96. He can bring up the 100 this over. Country v country. The best in the world.
11 sixes in the innings for Gale.
Oh,
Yes.
but yeah. So you play cricket as a kid coming through, and what famous cricketers lived in your area in Barbados, and who you got to meet?
Well, no, well, so I was actually brought up here in Reading.
Oh, sorry. You've been back there though, haven't you?
Well, I went to Barbados for the first time when I was about 18 or 19.
Yeah.
So I was never brought up in Barbados, but here in Reading, Reading has the largest concentration of people from Barbados living outside of Barbados in one area.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And funny enough, the people in Reading who came here from Barbados in the 50s and 60s, they come particularly from one area of Barbados.
Yeah.
That's the same area where my mother came from, my deceased mother came from. A parish called St. Andrew.
Yeah.
Somehow they've all managed to arrive here in Reading. But when my parents came to England first, they were living in Croydon because my dad came to England. He was recruited in Barbados to work for London Transport.
Oh, so your dad came to work on London buses or tube, were it?
That's right, the trains, yeah.
Yeah.
So when he came to England in '56, he sort of came to England, say for example, on a Tuesday morning, and then on the Wednesday morning he was off to work for London Transport.
And he worked for them all his life?
No, he didn't stay there very long because my dad was actually a carpenter by trade in the Caribbean. So when he actually sort of came to England, as I said, they were living in London for the first 2 years. And then he had reason to come to Reading. For some reason, he had to come to Reading. And when he came to Reading, he met a lot of people down here that he knew were from the same district of Barbados as my mother. So he went back to Croydon and said to my mother, look, there's lots of people in Reading who I think you would know them. So she said, really? Yes. She said, yeah, let's move to Reading. And that's how they came to move to Reading.
Yeah, bloody. So it's actually in Berkshire, isn't it, Reading?
Yeah, Reading in Berkshire, the royal town of Reading in Berkshire. In those days, our football team was known as the Biscuit Men, because Huntley Palmer's was a very famous biscuit company in Reading, for which my mother worked for many years. In fact, my mother, when she came to Reading, she worked for Huntley Palmer's. She had maternity leave to have my older brother. She had maternity leave to have me, and then she had maternity leave to have my youngest brother. So Huntley Palmer's was a big part of our life.
Yeah. What do you think to cricket at the moment? Do you think Test match cricket isn't as popular as T20?
I would agree it's not as popular, but I still say and I still maintain it is the most purest form of cricket there is.
Thank you.
And I believe it will always survive. It will not survive as it was before. And perhaps there will be some changes to it. But the whole idea of Test match cricket, to me, that is the ultimate cricket. And to be quite fair, if you look at T20 cricket, 50 overs cricket, 100 cricket, whatever you want to call it, it is still a test of your character, of your skill, of your intestinal fortitude.
I think the best batsmen, in my opinion, are Test batsmen who want to stay at the wicket, not these guys that are coming out slogging. And we can all go for them, but it can go one way or other. But I just think that Test batsmen and Test cricket's a lot better. It's like a game of chess. I like it personally. I prefer it more to T20, but that's more exciting. It's like 3 or 4 hours and it's done, innit? But the Test match is 5 days, and to go and watch it for 5 days is great, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. And my worry, Jeff, at the moment is this new generation. It's like I said in that other video, they want everything quick, don't they? It's like my kids don't want to watch Test match. They might sit 20 minutes and be bored watching T20, but I want to get them into something. But kids, I don't see that want to watch much cricket and stuff. Do you think that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a struggle, but I believe that the cricket authorities, they got to really sort of like be mindful of the mindset of the modern viewer, you know, and do something or continue to try to do something to stimulate interest. But I think that Test cricket is still very interesting. But if we keep saying that it's not, people will start believing it's not. But when there's a Test match on when Australia plays England here in the Ashes, whether in England or whether in Australia, you get tremendous crowds. I mean, you can't get tickets, can you? I mean, there are some. When India plays Pakistan, or when India plays in the UK, when Pakistan plays in the UK, I mean, you got people, you know, you really got people hanging off the rafters, aren't you? Test match cricket is still very, very popular. Where the main problem, I believe, is county cricket seems to be I don't know, but I think county cricket probably survived because of television revenue.
3 days though they play their game over, not 5 in the test. It's 3 days.
3 to 4 day cricket, yeah.
They tend to like go for it a bit better in county cricket than test cricket. I think test cricket, they're too defensive at the beginning of the games because the fields are like fielding is set as defensive, so they can't get everybody away. Whereas in one day they tend to spread out a bit because they're going to go from. Do you agree with that, Jeff?
Well, you see, test cricket and one day cricket it calls for a different mindset.
Yeah.
An opening batsman for a test team, he or she, they've got an objective, and that objective is to see off the new ball.
To make the ball older, so it's slower.
That's right. So when your best batsman comes in, and your best batsman is normally your number 3 or your number 4, they can hopefully score a century.
Yeah.
And put you into a position to put your opposition under pressure. So that opening pair, they got to have that mindset, or they will be of that mindset. That is why they are opening batsmen, to actually grind it out. You might have, I mean, in England, if you ever opening batsman in England can score a century. Well, if you can score a century in England, you can score a century anywhere, because there's no place in the world where the ball moves like it does in England.
Yeah, you know your stuff, don't you, Jeff Hughes?
Sorry?
You know your stuff. You see, I played cricket at a good level as a kid, and my dad was a coach, and he always said to me, because I wanted to be an opening bat, I wanted to be Jeff Boycott. Kevin owns all this. See, when I used to walk by his house as a kid to practice with my bat, with bag and me bat, I walked by, he'd come up to the gate, Kevin, because he's ex-footballer, and he's nicely, Jeff, get some runs today. You know, try not to put the banter with me. When you look at them old stages from back in the day, I used to copy them. Boycott, Gordon Greenwich, Desmond Haynes, Sunil Gavaskar. I know all the styles. But an opening batsman's job is to take the shine off the ball, make the bowlers tired, make the ball. It starts off at 90 mile an hour and it gets down to about 80 mile an hour when the big hitters come in. So the bowlers are tired, the fielders are not in the sun, and the ball's not coming down as fast, is it? And then they tonk it all over your Bowmans, your Petersons, your Viv Richards, don't they? But the opening batsmen, they've got the hardest job, haven't they?
Well, I think the opening batsmen primarily, I must remember to say batters. We're not allowed to say batsmen these days, are we? We've got to say batters because it includes male and female. They have a very unique position in the team, because more often than not, they don't bowl.
Yeah.
So that's their. If you just imagine you're an opening batsman, you get up quite early. I mean, you got a long time before your innings is finished. Then you're going to have to field again before you bat again. Is a long time. So they got a very unique position in the team, a unique role, and I mean, it takes a particular sort of mindset and application, you know. And you've got to be. I would say an opening batsman has to be pretty much very correct in their technique.
Well, when I look at opening batsmen, or when I opened the batting, when I played years and years ago, you get, but the first couple of overs, they just go, woof, 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 you know, around your ear holes. But when I first started out as a kid, 13, you'd be lucky to get in at number 10 or 11, and the ball wasn't coming down as quick. You know, I'd be getting 2 not out or 4 out. I didn't really get much gameplay. I started out as a 12th man, as a kid, bringing drinks onto, you know, pitch, because you have to be around it. Before then, I was a scorer, so I was always around it from being a really young kid. But you work your way up the batting order, but like I said, it comes whizzing. When I first opened batting, I said to my dad, we're out for about 7. I was like, oh, what happened there? I nicked one. I said to my dad, I said, everything just seems so quicker. You know what I mean? It's because of the ball brand new, isn't it? So you got to see the ball off.
Absolutely.
So my dad just said to me, when the ball's coming around you, know, just let it go down. And it's taking shine off ball. Just hang around. Just hang around for them first 6 or 7 overs. And then you can go for your shots, can't you? Till you see it like a football. And eventually you do when you've been there a while, because it gets slower, the ball, doesn't it? But then first couple of overs, they're really frightening, because it's zipping around your ear holes, isn't it?
So did you play adult cricket?
Yeah, I played adult cricket, yeah, from being
Yeah,
13 up to 16.
yeah.
So, 3 seasons, yeah, only 3. But I played schoolboy cricket all the way. I was captain of my school a couple of years, and I played schoolboy and area level. But
Yeah.
it's one of them things, isn't it? You lose your way, I think, when you're 16. You go down different avenues. And when I was 16, I was a bit of a lively kid, and I regret it now. And this is the message I want to get out to all you young future cricketers. When you're 16 and your mates are saying, "Come on, let's go youth club, let's have a can of this," and all that. Don't.
Well, that's no different now at all, because we have in our cricket club. I mean, I've been a member of the same cricket club since 1988. In fact, I've been a chairman.
Which club's that, Jeff? Are you a member of?
Purley on Thames. That's down here. Purley on Thames, here on the outskirts of Reading.
Yeah.
Big up all the people from Purley and Thames cricket. We have a big cricketing family there, and I've seen quite a few generations of junior players come through. And when you get to that age of 15, 16, you do get distractions.
Yeah.
But what does happen sometimes is people do go away from the game and then come back to the game when they're probably about 28.
Yeah, and that's what I should have. I never really went back, and like I said, I did that video the other day, and it's all run down and that down now where I'm from, the club and that, and there's no funding and nobody's interested in the generation of kids are not interested. I spoke to people in there, they're not interested in cricket. It's for old men, and they're on the phones and iPads, and I'm like, they're crazy, aren't they? I can't. My kids are not interested, and none in their area are. Well, none of the mates are. So you tell me, Jeff. You tell me.
Well, there's lots more things to occupy young people these days than in my day. We played cricket in the garden. In fact, to tell the truth, right, I tell you a quick story. One of my most vivid memories was that when I was about, I think it was probably about 5 or 6. My older sister, there's 5 of us siblings, and the oldest is my sister. And when she came over to England, I was about 6 years old. So I met her when I was probably about 5 or 6. And then my brother came over about 6 months later. So it was probably, I was probably about 6 or 7 when he came over. Anyway, so we started playing cricket in the garden. And they could already play because they were actually born in Barbados. They were actually born in Barbados, yeah. And I never forget, we were playing, we actually had a real cricket ball, but we would just play with it very, 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 very softly, And one evening, my older brother, he sort of bowled a very sort of straight ball to my sister. And she did what we called a forward defensive shot. And it went off the face of the bat, over our fence, and right into the next door neighbor's window. Ring, all the glass was out, right? I mean, oh God, what's that going to do when it gets home? And I never forget, I tell you, no word of lie. As soon as the old man got in from work, we told him, Dad, we accidentally broke the window. He didn't say one single word to us about it. The next door neighbor, Mr. Feeney, I wonder if Mr. Feeney's still around now. Mr. and Mrs. Feeney, yeah. He came around, about the window and all that. My dad went out the next day. He got the glass, and because he was a carpenter, he fixed the glass, he fixed the window. Nothing was ever said about it, right? But I think my father was probably proud that we were actually playing the game.
Yeah, they probably would.
So he didn't say a word to us, but that memory stays in my mind quite vividly. Because I was a kid at the time, but it was a big thing. Just a forward. You just put the bat there, the ball hit the bat, and it went straight off like the mid-off. But their window was in the way. Straight through the window. Were
you a batsman or a bowler or a fielder, Jeff?
Well, I'd like to still think I am, Russell. I'm still playing the game.
Yeah. Well, what do you do? Where do you bat? Late on or mid-order?
I've been batting later and later these days. But
don't as you get older, you tend to get pushed down, killed, don't you?
You get pushed down and then you get pushed out.
Yeah. So you 9-10 Jack?
Well, I'm sort of lucky. I think on Sunday I batted at number 7. Oh yeah, on Sunday I batted at number 7 last Sunday.
Wicket keeper number that.
I batted at number 7 last Sunday. But what has been most encouraging for me this season so far is that I've actually taken quite a few wickets, and I've actually got out some very good batsmen, which I'm very, very happy about that, because for some reason this season I've been getting some good batsmen out, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, good man. Good man. When's your next game?
My next game was supposed to be on Sunday. However, because it's Father's Day, I'm told that a certain team can't raise a team. So our Sunday game might be off.
Oh,
Because
that's
it's Father's Day on Sunday.
Who do you think's the best bat in the world at the moment, Jeff?
At the moment in the world, who's the best batsman in the world today? I would say the best batsman in the world at the moment is probably for test matches. I would say Virat Kohli.
Kohli, he got a duck, didn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, he plays all three.
I did my video saying he's a good opening bat. He ended up with.
Yeah, I mean, he plays all formats, but when he's actually in, you do get the impression that you actually got to get him out.
Yeah,
you actually got to prize him out. So I think he's one of the best batsmen. He can't be far from the best batsmen in the world. But there's several really, really talented players out there. You know what I mean? And
what did you think to Peterson? Kevin Peterson.
Well, Peterson was an extraordinarily talented guy, but he was also a very complex guy.
Yeah.
You know, probably not the best team player, but in terms of talent for hitting the ball, I mean, what he did in the 2005 Ashes series, where England won that series, I think that was remarkable. That series is probably one of the best series that of all time.
Yeah, the 1/580 scored at the Oval.
Listen, that was tremendous.
Straight down the ground and for Lee's first ball met with a rigidly straight bat.
Very good. Marks Jaskovic takes the tumble.
Warne again. Nobody out there. Could have had to be in the stand anyway.
Makes a very strange noise. That's what I was worried whether it had gone straight in the air. It must have been the bat splitting at the base, but it goes well into the crowd.
Bit like that, you mean? It's another thump. The second bat's working well, isn't it? Not broken either. 2 sixes in the over.
This one is actually down the leg side of it, so I don't mind that so much. It's such a big reach. He's hit that dead square, so he's got onto that very, very early.
Oh, that's going a long way down the leg side. Looking for the Yorker. Signaled as a wide. That's interesting.
It's in the air, but it's gone a long way in the air. He'll take it on. His attitude is, you're going to bang it in, you'll attack me. If I get on top of this...
Whacked in. That's the question. There's the answer.
In comes one. That's Kevin Peterson's 50. He'll get 2 here. And he was dropped on 0, dropped on 15. I wonder how expensive that will end up proving to be. Valuable runs. It's in the air, but it's gone a long, long way again.
He gets it high. He's not got all of this, but he's got enough to take it well into the stands.
It's it again. Now, was that in the air? He got a hand on it. Was it before it bounced or after? If he'd have taken this would have been something.
It would have been the catch of the series. He's banging this game, the youngster, 22 years of age. He's not the best fielder that we've ever seen. One-handed, it's in there. It's in and out.
And this has gone fine, and that's 4 more. This is what England wanted. It's everything that Australia didn't want.
If he gets him out, it's a different game again.
That's half stopped, but not enough. Michael Clark can only get a hand on that. I thought he'd got there, he hasn't.
Attracts all sorts. This is one timely innings from Big Peterson. He's been quiet for a couple of test matches.
And we have 4 more as well. 4 more, smashed down the ground. Brett Lee has given it everything, but Kevin Peterson has rode his luck and played some quite exhilarating shots.
Well, has that hit anything? It's gone away past the fielding helmet, over the boundary. The signal is buys. 4 more valuable runs for England. The invader has been caught, dispensed with, so we return to what we were here for originally, cricket. That's hit powerfully. Not going to get there, Brett Lee. That's a problem with Tate. He just might be a bit too expensive.
Turning to Sean Tate. Kevin Peterson didn't want a loosener from Sean Tate.
More runs. Another boundary.
Two men out on the boundary. Managed to pick the gap.
And they all seem to go pretty well through mid-wicket as well.
New bat, same result. Predominantly plays on the leg side. Ball swings in. Flips it between mid-wicket and mid-on. Flick of the wrist.
That's it. The arms are aloft. Ball through extra cover signals Kevin Peterson's first Test 100. What a performance. This could yet be the biggest day of his career.
Well, I think he's quite pleased, and rightly so. His brother's pleased, all of England are pleased, and there he is, Shane Warne, his big mate at Hampshire, gives him a little clap from third man. And look at the scenes here at the Oval, under the most immense pressure, the biggest game there's been for a long time. He stood up, held his hands up, and got a wonderful 100 off 124 deliveries. Well played, Kevin Peterson.
Peterson plays the pull and it's way over Langer's head. The 12th 6 of the series, and it's one of the bigger ones. That's gone 100 yards.
That is way out of here. Langer sets himself. He's hit it flat, he's hit it into the stand. Big Kev with his 5th 6.
Big hit straight down the ground this time. That's 6 more. 6 sixes in this innings already from Kevin Peterson.
Kevin Peterson dealing just in 6s at the moment. 6-6 to go with 10 4s. What a clean striker of a cricket ball he is. Ball toss from Warne, hit down the ground, it's 4 more. Must be getting tired, Shane Warne, his 33rd over.
Away through extra cover. Yet another Peterson boundary. 12 4s and 6 sixes. Beaten extra cover this time. That's away for 4. Peterson into the 140s. England 277 for 7 as the umpires call for the evening drinks. Straight down the ground. Straight into the stands. That's the record for Kevin Peterson. 7 sixes in an innings against Australia.
Tossed up. He says, I'll have a go at that. And that is a beautiful clean strike. Well played, Kevin Peterson.
That's 4 more. The man in the deep is too square to stop that. Brings up the 150 for Kevin Peterson.
Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Shane Warne might go on for the long yet. Be interesting to see how Glenn McGrath goes.
No third man. That produces another boundary.
Great steam position, you would expect that from him. Outside edge, genuine edge. Not much more you can do.
Bowled him.
finally the fantastic knock by Kevin Peterson comes to an end. I don't think anyone will be sitting while he walks off the field.
There's some delivery as well, this, when McGrath's produced. He dropped him on 15, but this ovation that Kevin Peterson's going to get is going to be deafening. What a great innings. Comes to an end. He's gone for 158.
The pressure on that. The only time I've ever seen pressure like that. Have you ever watched snooker, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. I know snooker.
Do you remember the 1982 semi with Jimmy White and Alex Higgins? And Higgins is 15-14 down. He's about 60 points down with 68 on table. And he cleared up them last 18 balls, but they were spread all over, weren't they?
Well, I don't remember that game specifically, but I certainly remember Alex Hurricane Higgins and Jimmy White in their pomp, because that all led up towards that 1985 final between Taylor and Davis. Yeah. I mean, around that time, I mean, BBC was particularly swamped with snooker, wasn't it? I mean, snooker left, right, centre.
Well, what Alex Higgins did for snooker, if you remember, in 1972, when he won the world title, he won it at a working men's club, a British Legion in Birmingham, and in front of about 400 people. But in 1985, 18 million. There were no television. Yes. And 13 years later, there were 18 million watched Dennis Taylor and Davis. So for that period, he was responsible for it, Higgins, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he was certainly he was like sort of like the George Best of snooker, wasn't he?
Yeah. Who do you think's the best bowler at the moment? Which bowler would you not want to face at the moment if you were a batsman, Jeff?
Bumrah of India. Bumrah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to face him at all. And I'm sure that a lot of professional players of the highest level don't like to face that guy. He's got an action, right?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the actual instrument we use, but there's a tool that we use in net practice to emulate a fast bowler. What it is it's an extension onto what you've summing in your hand. If you go like that with it, it makes the ball go down the nets faster. And how his arm comes across, how his action is actually like that. It sort of comes in a very straight line. And it's a very unique action he has. And it's very, very hard for batsmen to pick up his Yorker. Or to pick up any of it. He moves the ball both directions. And when he gives you the Yorker, I mean, he's giving these guys hell in this current T20 World Cup. And he's like that in Test match cricket as well. So I would say Boomer is probably the most dangerous bowler in the world at the moment.
When I was a kid and I started facing fast bowling, it comes round your heels. I had a couple catch me here, there and everywhere, and they come really keen and it can really knock your confidence in. What my dad suggested, a tennis ball, because we lived in a house where we had the garage at the bottom and then there was the house and then we had like a big wall there. So I was kind of like, when I was batting at home, because we play on drive, and I was kind of like, you couldn't go that way, you couldn't go that way. I could only do like that. So one of the best shots I could do was a lofted drive, over the bowler's head. What my dad devised was a plan, so I could get confident with the ball. So he'd stand 10 yards from me and he'd bounce a tennis ball around my ear holes, and you get into a rhythm for muscle memory. Because the problem with fast bowling, if you're facing a really, really tall bowler, when he lets his arm go, see top of that sign here, it can sometimes go above the sight screen, can't it? And then you see it later, so it gains a bit of mile an hour because it gets a bit faster because you're not seeing it till late. So you're like, you don't know whether to hook or duck, and you end up like half and half, and you end up fending a catch, don't you? So what my dad did, obviously we practiced for ages with the tennis ball, and I got confident with it, but it took a while because you only need to get one ear on. I remember I said, I need a thigh pad to my mum because they're about 30 quid, which were a lot of money, 30 years ago. Because I kept getting one there and that, and it just puts you off, doesn't it? So eventually I became, I'm not saying I were an expert, but the faster the better, because if you get a nice sounding drive off a fast ball, it just flies, doesn't it? And you think, how did I do that? It's the pace off the ball, isn't it? And that's where you get your confidence from. But when you're getting around your ear holes and that as a youngster, from grown men who don't want to be shown up, it can knock you. And I think for that first year, I was really like, really humbled and I got my head around it age 15, 16 kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want young kids watching this to be frightened at fast bowling. That is a way to practice it. But what you're on about, they're quite dear, them, aren't they, to buy?
Oh yes, yeah. They cost you a few pennies. But it's interesting what you said there about how your early formation into cricket, your early sort of strategy, by playing that ball straight down the wicket that you were playing, having to play straight. That's a coaching must, really. What they will tell you is to always play straight in that V, you know. And once you can play that straight shot, once you can play that straight, that's one of the most important things, to show the bowler your face of your bat. Because the face of your bat is wider than a bent bat, so you've got a better chance of hitting the ball, actually milling the ball. So it's always good to play in that V first. That to learn the basics of playing that ball straight back where it came from.
Well, my dad used to say, when you're driving that ball, you're never going to hit it. It's very rare if you hit it, Russ, but always try and aim for the stumps at the other end. Always, but you're never going to get it. It might just go to the sides and that, but always try and aim for them stumps. But I've only ever done it once. The other guy we're batting with, we always used to set off quick, and I drove one by. I didn't even catch it right, and I didn't aim for it, but I ran my own player out, and it's easily done, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, very easy.
Try and aim, keep that bat, and it's that elbow, isn't it? I had
yes,
at one point, and I used to another good one to straighten that elbow up. Well, get a corky cricket ball, screw a screw into it, piece of string, and I used to put it on my mum's washing line, and I did that all day, you know, for like 200 times. Just keep doing that to get into it. It's all muscle memory, isn't it?
Oh yes, you want to get your technique in your shape, and you always try to maintain your shape when you play your shots. You know, cricket is a very technical game in many respects, but it can also be very straightforward. Once you understand your game and you understand what you're good at, and you try to stick within that particular realm of stroke making, you can master your own technique to a degree. It's when you start doing things that's outside of your natural your natural abilities, when you tend to get yourself in trouble. And cricket's a cruel game as a batsman, bats first or a batter. It's a cruel game in that you can go out to bat on a Saturday morning or a Sunday afternoon or whatever, and you only got to miss the ball once or make one mistake, and you got to wait a whole week before you bat again. With a footballer striker, you can miss a handful of chances, but you still score the winner.
Yeah, that's why it's such a great sport, Jeff, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what makes it a test. I mean, when they say test, it tests you in so many ways. It tests your patience, it tests your technique, it tests your courage. It also tests your sportsmanship in terms of being a member of a team, you know.
There's no worse than being caught out, is there, Jeff? There's no worse than being caught out for a quack as a batsman and playing a shot that you shouldn't be playing and having to sit with your team for 2 hours at pavilion thinking, oh, I've really let these guys down here going for that big-headed shot, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You sometimes you do things on the cricket field. You actually sometimes the bowler will be coming into you, and you'll be concentrating. You know what he's going to do. You know what he's going to do. And for some reason, you do something that you didn't plan to do. You get out. You think, why did I do that? You know, that's all part of training your mind and the discipline of it. That's what separates the really good club players from the outstanding club players into minor counties, into the county cricket, into world cricket, into test cricket. The person who can actually stay focused, concentrate, and who has the ability, because at the end of the day, there are some people who have got very good eye and hand coordination.
Very good. Derek Randall.
Oh, well, I'll tell you a story about Derek Randall. In 1996, we had an Old England team. They were Old England. They came to play at our ground in Purley. And Derek Randall was in the team. I mean, he was well past his retirement by then.
Specialist fielder, wasn't he?
I'll tell you what, right? He was still very, very good then. I mean, when you think about how good he was then, it makes you wonder how great he must have been when he was actually in his prime. Because he was able to hit our fastest bowlers way out of the park with no effort at all, you know. And he was still on his toes. But I mean, when the bowler was coming into him, he's on his toes. He's ready to come forward. You know, he's not stuck in the crease. he was really outstanding to see him play in real life.
He ran a 10.5 100 meters as a kid.
Sorry?
He ran a 10.5 100 meters as a kid, Derek Randall. He was a teenager.
Doesn't surprise me. He was a real bag of energy on the field. He's probably one of the first modern fielders that was, let's say, extra fitter or more fit than the average player.
Yeah. He were in the team as a specialist cover fielder. One, he could bat as well, but he was a specialist, classed as a specialist fielder, and you very rarely get that, apart from your wicket keeper. But he were one of the first specialist fielders who were picked for his fielding abilities, because he hit 30 runs a game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was outstanding. I remember he first came to know, if I remember correctly, in the 1975 World Cup, the very first World Cup. Which the West Indies
played for Nottingham, didn't
he? Yeah, I mean he was really accepted. I mean, there was one game when England played the West Indies, when I think he almost batted England to victory over the West Indies. I think, if I remember correctly, but someone managed to get him out eventually. But he was really a live wire. He was busy. He was a busy player. He was a busy player, busy with the bat and busy in the field. Tremendous player.
He had a really odd stance for his batting. Do you remember it? His stance
again,
wasn't like that. It wasn't conventional. It was kind of like that, wasn't it? Really.
I don't remember his stance. I don't remember his stance being extraordinary to call to mind now. All I know is that he was not he was a bit unconventional. But I don't remember his stats actually.
You'll have a look on YouTube after this now, won't you, Jeff?
Yeah. I will because but I certainly remember he was a very, very, very talented player. And even after he finished playing, as I said, he played many years after for minor counties. He was still very, very good into late age.
Loves the game, right? He loves it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Would you like to come on every week and have a chat about cricket, Jeff? Once a week or 2 or 3 times a month? Would you like that?
Yeah, I like to talk cricket. I talk cricket every day, if I could.
Listen, it's been a pleasure to have you on, Jeff.
My pleasure. I'd like to say,
gentlemen, you didn't have to wear a tie for me, but you know what? I'm honoured, mate, that you've done that. Thank you very much.
Let me tell you about my tie, right? When I talk about cricket, right? Remember, cricket is a game played by gentlemen.
Yeah, well, that's why you've got your tie on. So thank you very much. You know what? I'll see if I can find a tie, and I'll put one on next time we have you on. How's that, Jeff?
Well, as long as you keep doing what I said to you earlier, I will always be entertained by your show and by your personal performance. You know what I'm talking about.
I know. Thank you very much, Jeff. You're a gentleman.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, mate.
I'm going to get off, but listen, I'll get this sent to Cameron now, and he'll jazz it up a little bit and see what we can do with it, and it'll be out in the next 2 or 3 days. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Listen, you take care, Jeff, and keep in touch. God bless.
Will do.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Well, that were Jeff Hinds from London, boxing referee. I really enjoyed that. Hope to see you next week when we have Jeff on. Hope you like and subscribe to the channel, and please share it. Go on, peace out.